it's Daz. This week's discussion is on if we're in a recession and what are some of the things you can do at this current point in time. Just like saying the end is near or the end of the world is happening now or that we're in the Great Tribulation, people often have gotten immune to the idea. So when you bring up the fact that inflation is bad and our markets are crashing, people almost scoff about it because, after all, we've been hearing it for a long time. When 2008 happened, I was around 14 years old, and I remember a lot of people around me, their families, a lot of my classmates were impacted by it. Families that lived in my neighborhood had to move out, and it was tied more or less to the housing market. There was the dot-com bubble that burst as well in 2001, and there have been other crashes, but we haven't had anything as catastrophic as the Great Depression since the 1930s. However, this year seems to be an echo chamber of years prior, even decades or centuries prior, with the resurfacing of diseases like measles or diphtheria. The measles outbreak is getting really bad, and the return of weather-like conditions like the Dust Bowl. Even comparing us to 2011's tornado outbreak, which, if you haven't seen already, there's a documentary on Netflix called Twister. It's really fascinating because it really covers what happened in that year. I'm getting off track in saying that when I look at what's happening with our markets, you have figures like Warren Buffett pulling his money out. You also have people spending less. The United States is one of the biggest consumers. However, more and more individuals are finding they're having to put a tighter rein. Car payments are skyrocketing. Some people are spending over $1,000 on a car payment, which is crazy because that's a mortgage. And I've heard stories of mortgages going up to $5,000 or $6,000, which is insane. What really shook me, though, is hearing that Klarna, however you say it, decided to partner with DoorDash so people could split their payments of food delivery. If that doesn't spell we're cooked, I don't know what does, because the amount of people susceptible to that is horrible, on top of the fact that it just goes to show that we're being encouraged to spend, and I do believe more and more households are pulling back. I know I'm pulling back because if I don't, it's just not a good time. There's so many layoffs happening. I work in tech, and tech is notorious for laying people off, but every industry is being impacted. No 9-to-5 is safe. I do believe that we are in a depression. I read that usually when GDP is down over a consistent basis, that's a sign of a depression. And I know we've lived in a time where people have not seen the horrors that our grandparents or great-grandparents lived through, but I feel this time it's different. I could be wrong, but I would advise to don't frivolously spend. Try your best to pay off any debts. Don't put anything on credit if you could help it. And if you do have a safety fund, keep building it or start one. And do your best to do what you can for yourself or for your household, because times are changing. And the America we had in the past is not the America we have now. Even our global markets are just, they're not what they were. The world is changing as we know it. And I've spoken on this topic before with this tariff and trade war. It's only going to intensify the situation, and time will tell. It's no mistake that this is all happening at once. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, a great weekend. Take care. God bless. Until next time.